Traveling Golfer. My name is Mike, and right across the table from me here at Podcast Central, the center of golf podcasting of the world, I like to think of. All right, that might be a little overblown. Is Claudio DeMarchi, and he, in fact, is the Traveling Golfer. Hey, buddy.
I thought you were right on with that comment. This is the center of the world.
I do believe it is, because from here you can get to any golf course in the world that you want to.
You can. And now we can both go because there's no partition in front of us. What happened?
Well, I mean, we are now into another phase, and distance is fine. So that, the screen between us that you could draw the weather on if you wanted to or send me notes has been removed for the moment. Should we be told by the authorities that it needs to go back? It certainly will.
I'm glad for that.
But for now, I can reach across and get you if I want to. I could pull out one of those mustache hairs.
Perfect.
All right, so look, we've got a big show lined up today. If you are a fan of golf, the town we are headed to is certainly no stranger to you. And to top it off, we've got some beautiful stories in that realm. But also, stick around at the end of today, sort of a different-sounding wine cellar. A lot of great name brand wines and stuff you haven't heard of before, and spirits and that sort of stuff are discussed, and usually quite positively.
Absolutely. We like the wine cellar.
Well, stick around for the wine cellar today because there's not a huge amount of positivity in there, but a huge amount of honesty. So we'll get to that.
Absolutely. You got that right.
Okay, so now where are we going today?
We are going to someplace that every golfer wants to go to all the time, but for the most part, they only think of this place for about 2 weeks of the year, usually in April.
Now, why is that?
Because there's a little event going on called the Masters.
Oh, I know where we're going.
Yeah.
We are going to Georgia.
We're going to Augusta, Georgia. And we are going to bring on with us Bennish Brown, President and CEO of the Augusta Convention and Visitors Bureau. And he's going to help us relay the information to everyone as to why they should think of going to Augusta maybe all year long, because you can play golf there all year long, and there's some pretty sweet stuff.
Okay, we'll get to that. I want you to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Many great episodes and destinations ahead of us that will blow your mind. And so go ahead, share it with the friends, share it with your golf buddies, and for goodness sake, subscribe to it. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell to make sure that you're notified the next time an episode is posted, and we'll be there for you. All right.
And don't forget, it's travelinggolfer.net is where you want to find everything. I knew that Mike would forget because I wasn't able to write this on the partition, and now it's gone. And so, thank God I reminded him.
I really am. I am so delighted to have this kind of partner on the show because you're right. I would have blown past it. We won't blow past that again before the end of the show. We'll let you know how to get there as well.
Right.
Meanwhile, let us head to Augusta, Georgia right now and join Bennish. Bennish, thanks for joining us.
I am so excited, Mike and Claudio, to be a part of this. So thanks for thinking of me. But thanks for giving me the chance to talk about a place that is now my home and a place I really love.
Wow, what a legitimate accent on Bennish, huh? We are definitely in Georgia.
That's it. Now, Bennish and I got to know we go back a long, long way. Like, well, let's not even go there because it's a long time. But Bennish and I first got together when he was in South Carolina, and we started hanging out a bit at golf shows, and before too long, I started helping them out with marketing and stuff like that. He left us for a while, went up to Tacoma, and just recently came back to be closer to home, and we're glad he did, because we missed the old guy.
Well, we stayed connected. Claudio, you are certainly just an amazing individual, and really did an awful lot for us in golf wherever I was, and even in Tacoma. I mean, they didn't have a Claudio in Tacoma, but airplanes and cars, Claudio finds his way everywhere. So really enjoyed being with you, getting to know you. It's been about 20 years actually. So it's good to connect again this way.
Yeah. And I got to say, and we're just going to leave it at this, Tacoma for me was love at first sight. I just loved it out there, and I'm dying to go back. But let's go to Augusta, where the two most famous things exist. Hamburgers, one, and golf.
How did hamburgers make the top of the list?
Maybe it's not the top of the list. Bennish can tell us about the hamburgers later because he sent me there. And it made a lasting impression as well. So
Awesome.
But let's move on to
Okay.
golf. We've got the biggest event in golf takes place there. It's been postponed, Bennish, till November now.
That's right. November 9th through the 15th, the Masters. This will be a historic event. Actually, this is the second time in the history of the Masters that it's been canceled, or in this case, actually postponed. So this will be different for us. For a lot of people, this will be for a lot of these young players. They have no history of obviously the first cancellation. So this will be their first time playing in November at this very historic, very storied course, and for this amazing event.
And in front of no spectators.
No spectators, or as they call them, please, Claudio, patrons. They call them patrons here.
Oh,
Yes.
Duly
So
noted.
this is a patronless Masters.
I wonder if there's a special spot for the president and CEO of the Augusta Chamber to go and just hang out, social distancing, of course, and maybe invite a couple of friends from Canada.
We can't get over the border, but
Details.
details.
Yeah, no, I wish I could be there. To be honest, the first Masters I ever attended was last year after moving here. So my first year here, and I had no idea. It's in Claudia, you've been there. So for me, watching it on television has absolutely no comparison to being out on this golf course. And just being around that energy and around that tradition, that history, everything is manicured. But no, I don't get to enjoy that this year, other than on television.
Well, if anybody has not been to the Masters, it is a bucket list experience. And I think it was 94. I spent the entire week there, practice rounds and the playing rounds. John Daly's first year there, and I watched him play with Freddie Couples and him bombing it past him like 30, 40, 50 yards regularly. That was kind of cool. But it's also when you get out onto the street, Washington Boulevard, full of bars and restaurants. And I was there with my wife that week, and we went to Hooters. And we're sitting on the deck, and Fred Couples and Payne Stewart come walking up, sit on just like everybody else. Yeah, it's you go into bars and restaurants.
There they are.
And players just come in as if it's nothing. They're not, it's not pretentious or anything like that. Certainly some of them will go off and do their thing, but that was very cool.
I would say that's an incredible experience, just to be out and be among the same crowd that is there for this incredible event, right? And the pressure is on them bigger than it ever would be at any other time, any other tournament, I would imagine. And there they are just hanging out at Hooters.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the incredible event, and they're just being incredibly themselves, and it was so cool.
Today's episode is brought to you by Hooters. Not really. Just want to throw that in there. Okay, so let's talk.
It could. My friend John owns Hooters all over Toronto.
Oh, excellent.
Well, we got to talk to him.
Hi, John. If you're listening to this, we just gave you a plug. Why don't we do this? Why don't we talk a little bit about the course experience for golfers wanting to go and experience Augusta? What are the courses? Let's give an overview to people who are thinking about planning a trip there.
Well, the courses, there's two that stand out right on the Augusta side, one being Forest Hills, originally designed by Donald Ross, who is a great influence in golf all over the world. In 2003, Arnold Palmer came in and did a little bit of a redesign. It goes back to like 7,100 yards. I would say that with Arnold's touch, he usually softens up the courses a little bit, makes it a little easier to play because you've got enough on your hands with the greens alone. But the top-end green fee is $55.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, you won't find around a golf. And what do you think makes it that price? Just the sheer volume of people going through there, or it's just incredible to me that it would be that price.
Well, Bennish, I think you'll agree with me on this, that it's $55 except for 2 weeks of the year where it may be $400
I
just
see.
for that week. And
Gotcha.
that happens
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, during the Masters, if you're there with a set of clubs, you don't care what you're paying. You're part of the excitement and trying to feel the game vicariously, right?
Yeah. And then the other one that is there is Gordon Lakes, a Robert Trent Jones course, 27 holes. It's on the Armed Forces base. It also goes back to about 7,100 yards with an island green, a whole bunch of bunkers, and pine trees lining the fairways. This one's ridiculous, $30.
That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, this is okay. So look, anything that you might have spent on golf in many other destinations, you can just put toward anything else you want to on your trip to Augusta because this is borscht.
Well, that and the fact that there's a number of courses on the other side of the river. This Savannah River runs right through between Augusta and Aiken, South Carolina.
North Augusta, South Carolina, right?
Yeah. And so there's just a bunch of courses on the other side, but there's so much to do in Augusta because it's such a nice big city with a downtown area, and Bennish, a bunch of great restaurants that you have taken us to. And
yeah, let's talk
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit, Bennish, about what there is to do when you come off the course.
Sure. And I will loop back just to say one thing. Claudio mentioned Gordon Lakes Golf Course, which is on Fort Gordon, Army military base here. And I always just think, if you talk about, we certainly have champions who are playing out at Augusta National, but out at the base at Fort Gordon, that's really also where the champions play when we talk about our servicemen and women. So certainly a proud spot for Augusta to have that.
That is a cool experience.
Gordon Lakes Golf Course there. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a very cool patriotic experience to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk food and fun, shall we?
Let's talk fun. First of all, let's set the tone about really Augusta and the ambiance. People do know us for our historic. It's a city founded in 1736, and we've got the Masters, which is strong tradition. But Augusta is the home of James Brown, the godfather of soul.
Step back. I'm going to kiss myself.
Absolutely.
Thank God we have a partition.
Yeah.
And really, it's a music vibe city here, VIBE. I know my accent is just a little bit different than my friends, here to the north of us, but there's a vibe here that is just grounded in this soulfulness in music. We have singers from opera to country that have come from Augusta, but I think among our assets, it's not like we have that one big, huge attraction. It is really those small undiscovered, as I've listened to some of your podcasts, and you do talk about, the undiscovered destinations and locations. We're certainly known for golf through the Masters, but I think exploration of our city will unveil other things. Local restaurants are amazing. As Claudio mentioned, some of the best burgers you'll get anywhere. And I can eat a burger every day. You literally could eat a burger for 2 weeks here at some of our downtown restaurants and never have the same burger twice. Well, so if you're a burger lover.
Let's give that establishment, Whiskey something or other.
The Whiskey Bar.
Whiskey Bar. He sent me there because he knew I like whiskey, but he never thought that I'd be coming out with burger on my brain.
You have no idea how appealing this is to me. I will eat a burger every time offered. It's like maybe I have a problem, but a good burger is tough to pass up on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially when you're golfing. If let's say that you're out with buds and stuff like that. I don't know why, but a burger, everybody enjoying a burger just feels like an experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I won't name drop all the restaurants. The only one I'll mention again about burgers, there's a restaurant called Farmhouse Burger, and it's spelled German, house, Haus, or I'm assuming that's German.
Yep.
But it's owned by a chef who has 3 other restaurants, but all of his restaurants, including the Farmhouse Burger, very carefully, locally sourced food, regionally as much as possible, local from the Augusta area or regionally, or even at least within North and South Carolina. And anything he creates, anything that's created in that restaurant is just amazing. Eating here is an experience. Playing golf is an experience. I can tell you, eating here is an experience.
Well,
So
they go hand in hand. You know,
Yeah.
when you're trying to experience, and by the way, that there is not a Disney World or anything like that nearby. Well, I guess there is. It's the next state over, but that there's nothing, no major other attraction. Well, that actually makes for a really nice stay, play, and eat experience because that's your focus. You're on the course during the day. You want a nice lunch and you want a really nice dinner and to have a bit of an experience. And it sounds like that's what you're offering.
Yes, and there's
It
a
really
nice collection of hotels that are right downtown. So you get off the course, you get back to your hotel, and you don't have to really drive anywhere because there's so many places that you can walk to.
Cool.
Bennish, you took us for a cocktail at one of the new ones right downtown.
Yep, we have a new distillery that's right downtown. Craft breweries are here, and I know you find those in a lot of other cities. But as Claudio said, I think the key is it is so walkable. It is not a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot of great energy. I will share with you that Augusta is now the headquarters for the U.S. Army's Cyber Command Center. So we are basically a tech city, but it's very quiet in that regard. But you think about the millennials who are involved in technology and in cybersecurity for our Army. We are now the home for that. So we have to have, both, downtown living and all those amenities that these young people want. They want to walk to everything and be close to everything. So you will feel that in this historic city that now also has to be a city that embraces the future.
Yeah, and the opposite of that tech and future is the history where we had all these great golfers like Bobby Jones, Byron Nelson, Donald Ross that walked these streets. And
Yes.
I don't know about you, Bennish, but anytime I'm down there, I go through those antique shops because you just never know what you're going to find. They have a great collection of antique shops and they have all of the modern shops, but it's so much fun and you never know what you're going to find down there, and there's plenty of it.
You're right. And Claudio, we know that not everybody gets the chance to get out on Augusta National, but we have a great little museum here. And one of the exhibits is about the Masters and the history of golf here. So for people who may not get that ticket, in future years, but they still want to just be in the city where golf has such a history, it's a great place to go to our museum and see. We have some statues made of some of those, icons in golf. So the green jackets, it's such a great place.
I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
there must be a display of the green jackets from history and
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah. So you don't recycle that. I'm telling people, listen, down in Georgia, if you buy a green blazer or you get a green blazer at the tournament, you got to hand it in at the end of next season. That's not true. Everybody gets to keep their green.
I think they get to keep it, and it gets resized if they gain weight because they have to wear it at all the formal events when they come back year after year.
Oh, you know what? Well, that's a relief to me because I thought the cleaning bill and trying to fit on a blazer too small, that's kept me out of professional golf. But now I might just endeavor in and see what I can do. But that sounds like a really great exhibit. And so, a couple of days on your trip, either side, just to experience the town, the city, and what it has to offer in the way of that rich history that you're talking about. You'd recommend that would be part of your trip?
Absolutely. And then because we're golfers, there are some pretty great golf shops down there. There is one that I can remember being massive and had every deep discount bargain you could find, as well as all the brand new stuff.
Right.
So
it's a golf town. It really is.
It's a golf town, and we should let everybody know that if they're interested in going there, there is someone who we had on a previous show, Golf Packages of South Carolina. They do a lot of this golf packaging for all year long, but they can also help people if they want to get to the Masters.
And if we want to find out more about the action and the life that we can live on a holiday in Georgia, what would you recommend? Where would we go, Bennish?
Yeah, certainly go to our website, visitaugusta.com. because that's what we want you to do. So visit Augusta.com. And from there, if you have any other questions, you certainly can contact any member of the team.
Yeah,
I do want to add, we have a Top Golf. So, if the action needs to continue after being on the course, we have a new Top Golf. It was supposed to have opened last year in time for the 2019 Masters. It did not. It opened this summer, and it is a prototype. There's not one like it. I think they will begin to build something like it in the smaller to medium markets, but it's a great place for golfers to come and still have that second round in a fun environment.
That sounds amazing.
It is a lot of fun. I've been to a few Top Golfs, and they are fun. And yes, there are about 15 courses in the, let's say, somewhat immediate area. 3 that golfers shouldn't miss are the Aiken Golf Club, right in Aiken. It's a funny story there that when Ben Crenshaw won his last Masters, he actually spent the few days before practicing at Aiken because the greens were so much like the greens at Augusta National.
So just across the river is a must play.
It is a must play. It's not a long course, but it is a tough course. It's only like 6,000 yards, but it's the toughest short course you're ever going to play. I think Ricky said that, so I'm stealing his
That's
line.
a good line.
It is. And then the River Club, which actually you can overlook the city of Augusta from there. I think it's a Robert Trent Jones course. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's an awesome course right on the river. And then maybe one of my favorite courses in all of South Carolina is the Mount Vintage Golf Club, and it has several of those stone walls that you see similar to Augusta National.
Okay.
And actually Golf Digest kind of recognize it as one of the closest things to Augusta National you're going to find. So
good recommends.
There's 5 good courses, and
and Claudio, I'll chime in. The River Club is actually a Jim Fazio design, and it is there, like as you say, just across the river in North Augusta, next door, depending on time of year. Golfers can also enjoy AAA baseball, a new stadium there. So great evening outings.
That's where the new stadium is. That's right. Yeah.
The Green Jackets play there, and still restaurants over on that side, a little subdivision called Hammond's Ferry. Great food over there. So great clusters that I think players would find wonderful nuggets to entertain them day or night.
Yes, it's a great area. I just love it.
It occurs to me we could dive deeper on Georgia, and I think that we should. So in a future episode, Bennish, I hope that we can count on you for that. But as a primer, this has been really helpful, guys, and makes Georgia sound like the next place I want to go. I appreciate this.
Yes, and Augusta is 2 hours from Atlanta?
That's exactly right. And an hour from Columbia.
An hour from Columbia. And a lot of people who go to the Masters will stay in Columbia, will stay in Aiken, will even, stay further away and drive because it's worth the drive.
It's worth the drive to the Masters. And if you win, you get a brand new jacket, I just found out.
And a burger.
And a burger. That's a great deal. Bennish, thanks so much for joining us today.
Mike and Claudio, this has been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, that Bennish is a warm guy, huh?
He's a great guy. We go back like 25 years or something like that. So it's
I could tell, yeah. You guys have a friendship dynamic there. And that's the case with a lot of the people that we bring on this show. They've spent time with you, you've had good times and had the experience that everybody should have before somebody else has to go and try to figure it out. And that's kind of the mission of the show.
Absolutely.
Now you can stay across the river. Now there's a beautiful course there. You can be in town and still play inexpensive courses that are wonderful and go to some top brand, top end restaurants.
Exactly. Choices.
Yeah.
Choices is what it's all about. And nowadays people, you can find everything you want on the internet. So you can, narrow down those choices and we just help.
Tell you what, the stuff that we do here would be a good podcast. People would like it. We should think about that.
Maybe.
Oh, wait a second. All right. Let's get to the wine cellar, shall we?
Shall we? Let's dive in.
Now, I pointed at the top of the show that, usually we're bringing to the table some wines that you definitely want to try. There is, however, on occasion, the need to say, hey, here's a wine you might want to miss.
Well, and so how did this all start? When we got locked down into COVID, I bought my first online wine, and then that was pretty good, and it was a fun experiment, and so I thought I'd try it again.
And how did it go the second time?
Well, maybe not as good as the first time.
Okay, so where did you order the wine from?
We got it from Tre Amici, which I bought wines several times, and I read what they sent along, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm gonna try this. And so sometimes you just have to learn and say, if I'm gonna try something, maybe I'll just go buy one at a time at the liquor store. And
it's kind of funny, right? I mean, now here's the reality: we both got a case of the same stuff to try.
Yes, well, we split a case.
Split a case, sorry.
Which is safer.
Absolutely. Actually, if we didn't like what was in that case, there was twice the wine to complain about.
Exactly.
But in that box, there was what selection? I remember that there was a Prosecco.
There was a Prosecco. That was, it was good, but it was, Prosecco's Prosecco. And I guess I've been spoiled by some of the others that are in the same category, but maybe not Prosecco.
You're right. Worst case scenario, throw some peach juice in there, and you're good to go.
It was good. It was good, and the whole case was only $250 to $300. So, we're just looking at over $20 a bottle. So, it's okay.
Yeah, it was not a huge risk. Although, like you say, doing it one bottle at a time might have been better.
Yeah.
So tell me about your experience with this case of wine.
Well, a couple of good ones. There was a Spanish Areola Gran Reserva Red, which was a Tempranillo Grenache blend, which was very smooth. That was probably my favorite of the bunch. And it was very, silky smooth. And it was just, a really nice red. And then there was Cabernet Sauvignon, which was a Punti Ferrera. Also very good. It was a nice aroma. It was dry, medium. But when you're looking at Cabernet Sauvignon, there's such a great selection at very reasonable prices, as we've covered off tons over the last
no
few
shortage
shows.
of availability at a good price.
So that was okay for that. And then there was a Malbec Dos Fincas 2018, and it was just it was a Malbec.
Okay,
it was okay.
Nothing outstanding about it.
Nothing outstanding.
All the characteristics of a standard Malbec, but no flavor tones that popped or anything like that.
Nothing memorable.
Gotcha.
So I would say, I wouldn't be rushing out for that. There was a Pinot Grigio, which I've kind of taken a little bit of a liking to Pinot Grigios, and some of them kind of almost blend into that Chardonnay class now.
Okay.
And so, but this one didn't quite blend into anything. It was kind of just, it was a rosé color, which I thought might, it sat in the glass. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was okay. But it wasn't, to write home about. And then there was the disaster. And this is my second one that was a disaster from New Zealand. Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, that one was not popular in my home. I'm not going to lie.
And both of them had gooseberries in.
Yeah.
So
what's your observation on that?
Gooseberries suck in wine.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but it's not something you would add to wine, huh?
Don't put a bouquet of gooseberries in your wine. Ever.
All right, well, that's duly noted.
Yes.
Well, there you go. From the wine cellar to you, gooseberries suck in wine. Add them yourself if you want. Don't put them in at the creation process. Yes. Oh, that's so funny. Well, you know what? Like you say, this is one of those experiences. You pulled a couple of decent wines out of that box.
Yep.
And you found a couple of stinkers. And that's, I think, what you're going to get sometimes when you do it that way, all under one roof of a vintner or even a distributor.
Yes.
So, you know what? There's a lesson to be learned here. One is, online, but maybe not the entire selection.
Yes. One of the things that you can do is, and if somebody listened to our podcast from a way back when I kind of gave some insight into walking through the liquor store and what to look for, you'll be way further ahead.
Oh, that reminds me. Please subscribe to this show and tell a friend about it if you love golf, or you love wine, or you just love the dulcet tones of Claudio DeMarchi's wonderful voice. Please share it with a friend, and don't forget to visit travelinggolfer.net. And we will catch you next time. Thanks, Claudio.
Thank you, sir.